Thank you, Mr. President and members, for this lively debate. I want to just personally also say thank you to Senator Seeberger, and I know Senator Rasmussen and a few others worked on this legislation. And it's not easy to take on legislation that can become such a controversial topic. And I want to talk about absolutes, because it's very easy in political debates to talk in absolutes. It's very easy to go to the extremes and use straw mans to make an argument about policies, rather than digging in, rather than looking at on the ground how this actually is implemented, what the effects are of a law, talking to constituents who are small business owners, family farmers, who are part of the labor movement, who are business leaders and chamber members who show up at the lunches to talk about how can we make businesses thrive? Because the truth is, when business is successful, labor is successful. And when labor is successful, business is successful. That shouldn't be a controversial statement. That should not be a controversial statement. I'm a labor guy. I consider myself a labor guy. I represent northern Minnesota, a place that has a history in the labor movement. I believe in doing everything we can to strengthen workers' rights. But we have to remember that the policies and the mandates that we pass at a state level have an impact on employment. If workers don't have a job, they can't earn sick time. If workers don't have a job, they can't earn sick time. I think first and foremost, we as Minnesotans should focus on ensuring that folks have a job. We should also be a place where business is incentivized to invest, to grow, where entrepreneurs feel inspired to create the next Fortune 500 company, because we are a headquartered company in Minnesota, because Minnesotans came up with business plans and grew their businesses into these 100 and 1,000 employee businesses that thrive here in our state that we're proud of. That doesn't just happen. Those things don't just happen. We have to foster an environment where people can thrive and where labor can thrive. It's been interesting hearing this debate about exempting 3 or 4 employees and about what that could mean. I want to take a second and talk about some of the other states that have implemented Earn Sick and Save Time in their state. For example, Maryland, a state that's known for its conservatism, exempts 15 employees or less. Massachusetts, boy, that's a conservative state. They exempt 11 employees or less. Should I keep going? Michigan, that's a pretty comparative state. They exempt 10 or fewer employees. I'm going to keep going. Oh, this is a good one. New York. New York. Less generous than Minnesota. Now they're at 5. Do you think the progressive champions in New York City weren't trying to look out for workers because they exempted employers with 5 or fewer workers? Come on. Come on. This is about making sure that our state works, that it incentivizes business, that it incentivizes employment, that it makes sure that labor is supported. For gosh sakes, if we didn't have the 34-seat majority in the DFL that we have right now, Earn Sick and Save Time wouldn't even be law of the land. Paid family leave wouldn't exist in the state of Minnesota. And to my colleagues across the aisle, I appreciate the debate. I appreciate working on these issues together. But you guys have talked about it yourself today on the floor. You wanted a private plan that would cover hundreds of thousands less employees than the programs that we've implemented as a DFL. So that's where this debate is, right? It's about one side putting forward ideas, the other side debating them. We see how the impacts are of those laws, and then sometimes bipartisanship happens. Bipartisanship, where you work with the other side, where you listen to maybe constituents that didn't vote for you. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? You listen to all of your constituents because once you are elected, you represent all the constituents in your district, all 85,000. Not the ones that voted for you, not the ones that are part of a group that endorsed you or sent you money. You listen to everyone because that's our job. We're grown-ups. We are senators for all of our districts and all of our constituents. I really think we have to be grounded in reality in this debate, folks. We're exempting 3 or fewer employees. We're making some changes that make sure that our school districts can operate in a functioning way so our kids can get a proper education. These are reasonable changes, and it's still, I want to reiterate, Minnesota will have the most generous earned sick and safe time policy and paid family leave policy in the country, and I'm proud of that. But that doesn't mean that I'm not willing to make a couple of changes here and there that help make sure that Minnesota can be competitive statewide. Minnesota needs to be a state that works. Let's make some simple changes to make sure that can happen. Thank you.